Is doing Pharrell and the Prophet podcast again today by himself. Me, that's so. Your boy Mickey is still in the San Juan Islands out near Seattle riding his bicycle. He's on this bike tour. He was whale watching yesterday. Looking for Orca, the whale. Anyway, speaking of whales, he wanted me to give you this prop for tonight's Arizona game at home against the Seahawks. He took Trey Benson under 60 and a hook in rushing yards at minus 110 on Caesars. Now, this guy's going to get the bulk of the load because Connor broke his ankle on Sunday against the Niners, so he's already had big games. I just want you to know. I mean, this guy has made a name for himself in short order. I can tell you, first of all, the Seahawks have a 7-game winning streak against Arizona, if you can believe it. And Benson's had a couple of big games and big runs. He had a 29-yard run last week against the Niners, and he had a 52-yard run in the opener against the Saints. The Cardinals have allowed the fourth fewest rushing yards in the league this season, while the Seahawks have averaged the fourth fewest yards per carry. We'll see if Arizona can shut down Seattle's running game. One thing I know is I went to see Seattle, and Darnold looked good. They beat the shit out of the Steelers in Pittsburgh 31-17. It was embarrassing. He did whatever he wanted. He was throwing slants. He was throwing underneath. Everything that he threw worked. And Jigba had a big game. They dominated every facet of the game. Their pass rush was vicious. They tortured Aaron Rodgers all day long. They've looked good, and they continue to win. It's unbelievable. The game's at 8:15 on Prime. The Seahawks are favored by 1. They lead the series 29-22 to 1. The Seahawks are 2-1 against the spread. The Cards are 2-1 against the spread. Of course, the Seahawks beat up the Saints last week 44-13, and the Niners beat the Cardinals 16-15 on a last-second field goal. The last time they played, the Seahawks beat the Cardinals 30-18 in December in Glendale, so they're not afraid to play there. The Seahawks offense is 18th overall, 21st rush, 12th pass, and 6th in scoring. So they're scoring points. I don't care what their rushing numbers are. They're finding the end zone, and I've seen it firsthand, as I said, when they did it in Pittsburgh at Acrisure. The Cardinals offense is 25th overall, 16th rush, 28th pass, which is really embarrassing when you think about it. And they're tied for 19th in scoring. Their defense is 23rd overall, Arizona, against the rush. 4th, that's what they're good at. Against the pass, 30th, that's what they're terrible at. And they're tied for 5th in scoring allowed. Turnover differential, Seahawks are even. Cardinals are a +2. Watch out for Torrey Horton, the wide receiver. He returned a punt 95 yards for a tutty on Sunday, but also he's a rookie. Added his second receiving tutty of the season. He's their third leading receiver behind Njigba and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp also destroyed the Steelers the day that I watched him. Unbelievable. So the Cardinals have allowed the fourth fewest rushing yards in the league this season. The Seahawks have averaged the fourth fewest yards per carry. Seattle has eclipsed 100 yards on the ground once in 3 games. As far as injuries go, cornerback Devon Witherspoon of the Seahawks and Julian Love, both who missed Sunday's game, have been cleared to play against the Cardinals. And that's going to be huge for them. Connor gained more than 1,000 yards on the ground in each of the past 2 seasons. Going to be a tough guy to replace after he broke his ankle against the Niners. As I said, the Seahawks have won the past 7 games in the series going back to 2021. That's crazy. The NFC West is combined for 9 wins so far this season. No other division has more than 7. So those teams out there in the NFC West have been hot. The Seahawks are seeking to win at least 3 of their first 4 games for the 3rd season in a row. They had the second best margin of victory in a win this season with their blowout of the Saints on Sunday. Seattle went 10-7 last season and hasn't had a losing season since 2021. The Seahawks are 1-1 against the NFC in 2025. Sam Darnold had a 154.2 quarterback rating in Sunday's win, the second best mark in a single game in franchise history. It was the second highest quarterback rating of Darnold's career. And Jigba, who led the Seahawks in receiving yards last year, is second in the NFL already this year. He trails your boy Puka Shells Nakua by 10 yards for the NFL lead going into week 4. Kenneth Walker scored a season-high 2 tutties on Sunday. Josh Jobe had a career-high 11 tackles, the corner, including 9 solo tackles on Sunday. Darian Kendrick had an interception for the second straight week. The Seahawks have 5 picks as a team this season, second most in the NFL. It's crazy the way they've been playing. Benson's not the only Cards player who could get a boost in rushing production now that Connor's out. Murray could try to make more happen with his feet in Connor's absence. We'll see if that happens tonight. So I wanted to talk about one other thing in the NFL here, and that's the Vikings and Steelers game in Dublin. Now, I know the Steelers won in Foxborough on Sunday. Okay, get excited. That's great. But I'm telling you, they're just not that good. They really aren't. They had every chance in the world to lose that game. They were up 14-0. Then it was 14-all, and then they somehow get the win. The Vikings have been looking fantastic. They're stomping teams. And I think they're going to beat the Steelers' ass. I really do, in Dublin. I don't think the Steelers can stop the Vikings. Not only that, I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to do anything against that Flores defense. I mean, that's the bottom line. I think he's a great coach. Of course, he coached in Pittsburgh, and now he's coaching the Vikings. And bottom line is they're just tough. I think they're going to give the Steelers problems. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Vikings. I think Rodgers is going to have a hard time throwing the ball against the Vikings. And I think the Vikings are going to be able to move the ball and score against the Steelers' defense, which has shown already that they can give up points in droves. That game is at 9:30 on Sunday morning in Ireland. So, you know, it's early. It's on NFL Network for the love of the Irish. And it's already Minnesota and Pittsburgh both 2-1 going into the game. The Vikings are laying 2.5 to the Steelers, and the total is 41.5. I see it. I guess it opened at 41.5. It's at 40 and a hook now. And on the money line, the Vikings are minus $1.40. The Steelers are plus 120. Most people think the Vikings are going to win this game. Most people are betting on them. Obviously, we don't know what McCarthy's status is, but they go Rodgers, Warren, obviously. The guy's making the biggest amount of plays. And Queen's questionable in this game for the Steelers. Watt hasn't done much. He has finally got a couple of sacks, so he's getting going. We'll see. As far as the Vikings go, there's all kinds of guys. Hargrave's questionable. Metellus is questionable, the safety. Kelly, the center, questionable with a concussion. School, the offensive tackle, questionable. As far as the Steelers, you got Porter questionable. The corner, Highsmith's out. He's got an ankle. Elliott, the safety, still questionable with an MCL problem in his knee. Queen is an oblique. That's why he's questionable. And Sharping, the guard, is on IR with a knee, so you can forget about him. He's not playing for 4 games. As far as the Vikings go, they just pounded the Bengals 48-10. And before that, they lost to Atlanta, if you can believe it, 22-6. They beat the Bears 27-24. As for the Steelers, 21-14, like I said, they beat the Pats. They got whacked by Seattle, as I mentioned, 31-17. And they beat the Jets in their opener at Snoopy in East Rutherford, 34-32. So don't forget, Sunday morning, 9:30 NFL Network, the game in Dublin between Minnesota and Pittsburgh should be interesting. There is college football tonight, just so you know. East Carolina and Army going at it at East Carolina. So East Carolina, it's down to 4. I know it opened at 5.5. You can get it at 4 now. 52.5 is the total. And I just want to preview this game. Obviously, it's on ESPN. East Carolina is averaging 462 yards per game, 28th in the FBS. 331 yards a game, 12th in the FBS, so they're throwing the ball. They're 100th in rushing, 131 yards a game. 31 points per game is pretty decent, 66th. Their defense allowing 307 yards a game, 220 passing. They're giving up 87 yards on the ground, which is 20th. And they're scoring, they're allowing 15 points per game. That's 28th. Army's offense, they get it going, 410 per game, 60th in the FBS. 109 yards passing. They don't throw the ball. They rush for 300 yards a game. Their whole offense is rushing. Their scoring is 29th. That's 75th in the FBS. Their defense gives up 356 per. That's 71st in the FBS. They give up 191 passing, 165 rushing, and they give up 32 points a game, which is 116th. They rank 79th in defense, third down percentage. They rank 122nd in the FBS with a -4 turnover margin compared to East Carolina. They're 10th, ranked +5, so they take advantage of turnovers. East Carolina, the Pirates. East Carolina ranks 120th in the FBS, averaging 74 penalty yards per game. East Carolina ranks 123rd in FBS in red zone offense, scoring on 72% of their trips in the red zone. Army's red zone defense ranks 112th at 100%. Caden Hauser is the East Carolina quarterback. He's thrown for 1,258 yards, 5 tutties, 3 picks, a 68% completion percentage. London Montgomery is their rusher, 151 yards on 36 carries, a couple of tutties. Their top receiver is Brock Spalding, 285 yards on 19 catches with a tutty. Dwayne Coleman is the Army quarterback, 230 yards, 2 tutties, 2 picks, 56% completion. Coleman, their leading rusher, 217 yards on 47 carries and 2 tutties. Receiving, Brady Anderson is their top receiver. He's got a couple of tutties and 167 yards. East Carolina lost to BYU on Saturday, 34-13. Hauser led him with 285 yards on 25 of 42 passing in the game. No tutties, 2 picks. Army lost 45-38 to North Texas on Saturday. Coleman passed for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks. He carried the ball 23 times for 117 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. So after this game, East Carolina plays at Tulane October 9th down in New Orleans, and Army plays at UAB on October 4th. I'm now sweating doing this show, I just wanted to say. It's early in the morning. I'm drinking coffee. I got the Joe flowing, and I'm talking 100 miles an hour, and I'm now breaking out into a sweat. I can feel sweat just pouring out of my body. The question is whether or not I'll be soaked by the time I'm done doing this show today. All right, so I just wanted to tell you that there are ranked games Friday night. I'm excited about them. Florida State and Virginia. That's Friday night. Tomorrow night at Virginia at Scott Field. I just wanted to say about this game, Virginia is 3-1 and 1-0 in conference play for Tony Elliott, and they've been exciting. They've scored at least 31 points in every game. Florida State's the highest-ranked league opponent to visit Scott Stadium since 2016. Florida State's offense is putting up huge numbers. They've amassed 700 yards in each of the last 2 games while averaging a national best 628 yards a game. They racked up a program single-game record 498 on the ground against Kent State to go with 8 rushing scores. Norvell has known this Virginia quarterback Chandler Morris since he was a kid, going back to his time on the Tulsa staff with Morris's father, former SMU and Arkansas head coach Chad Morris. Morris transferred to Virginia after spending last season at North Texas. Tommy Castellanos has thrown just 38 passes through 3 games for Florida State. That's because they're running the ball down teams' throats. Virginia, after a 3-1 start for the second straight year, they haven't been 4-1 in back-to-back seasons in more than 2 decades. The last time they did it was 03-04. So we got a big game tomorrow night in Charlottesville, and TCU and Arizona State in Tempe at 9 o'clock on Fox. By the way, that Florida State game's at 7 o'clock on ESPN tomorrow night. At 9 on Fox is TCU and Arizona State. TCU's 3-0, Arizona State's 3-1. Arizona State's offense, 406 yards a game, 65th in FBS, passing 101st in the FBS, rushing 24th in the FBS. Arizona State's defense is 55th in the FBS, against the pass 97th, against the rush 28th. Scoring, they are 56th in points allowed. TCU's offense is 14th in the FBS, 516 yards a game. Passing, they're 6th in the country, 341 yards a game. Look out. Rushing, they're 64th. Scoring, they're 23rd. Their defense is 69th in the FBS. Passing, they're 104th. Giving up yards on the ground, 38th. Scoring, they're 50th. Their defense is 50th in the country. TCU ranks 5th in the FBS in third down percentage, converting 62.5% of the time. TCU's 97th in red zone offense. TCU's 96th in the FBS with an average time of possession of 28 plus minutes a game. Sam Leavitt is the Arizona State quarterback. He's a badass. Josh Hoover is the TCU quarterback. Should be a good game. After that, Arizona State plays at Utah on October 11th. TCU hosts Colorado in Fort Worth on October 4th. So those games are tomorrow night. Plus, tomorrow night, an unranked game is Houston and Oregon State. Houston laying 13.5. By the way, in that Arizona State game, they're laying 3.5. Arizona State laying 3.5. 54.5 is the total. In the Houston-Oregon State game, Houston's laying 13.5. 46.5 is the total. Houston's 3-0, and Oregon State is 0-4. Those are just some games that are going to be going on tonight, tomorrow night. 2 of them ranked tomorrow night. Now let's get back to the top 25 for Saturday. Notre Dame has to go to Fayetteville and play Arkansas. Notre Dame finally won a game and beat Purdue. Now they got to take on 2-2 Arkansas. The Hogs at home, noon on ABC. Notre Dame's laying 3.5 in that game. That game doesn't really appeal to me. Georgia Tech and Wake Forest, same thing here. Georgia Tech's undefeated, and they're playing at 2-1 Winston-Salem against the Deacons. Georgia Tech laying 13.5. A decent game in Champaign-Urbana is USC and Illinois. USC's 4-0. They're laying 6.5. They're ranked 21st. Illinois is ranked 23rd. Illinois just got the shit beat out of them by Indiana. I mean, they got lit up. They gave up 60-plus points. Luke Altmaier, I like this kid. 855 yards, 9 tutties, no picks, 70% completion. But he didn't look good against Indiana. Jaden Maeva is the USC quarterback. 9 tutties, no picks, 70% completion. That Illinois loss was 63-10 in Bloomington on Saturday. Altmaier passed for 146 yards, 63% completion with 1 tutty, no picks. USC won 45-31 over Michigan State. We hit Michigan State and covered with that 19 points that we got. They lost the game, but they covered, and USC's looked pretty good. Illinois plays at Purdue after that on October 4th at Ross-Ade in West Lafayette, while USC hosts number 19 Michigan in a good one at the Coliseum in Lipstick City on October 11th. Hopefully I got that right. I think I did. So they're off until October 11th. I want to look at that again, make sure I got that right. So Yeah, October 11th. That's right. So this game between these two at Memorial in Champaign on Saturday. That game's at noon on Fox. Utah State and Vanderbilt in Smashville. Vandy's ranked 18th. They're 4-0. They're laying 23 and a half. A good one. Number one, Ohio State's at Husky Stadium against Washington in Seattle. 3:30 on CBS. They're both 3-0. Ohio State's laying 7.5. So everybody thinks they're number one because they beat Texas in the opener at the Shoe in Columbus. Do you really think they're the best team in the country? You tell me. I think the better game is LSU and Ole Miss. Number 4 against number 13 in Oxford. That's going to be kick-ass. Ole Miss is laying 1.5 as a home favorite over Brian Kelly's Bayou Bengals. 3:30 on ABC. That game, I think that's the game of the day. That's just all there is to it. Auburn and A&M in Kyle Field in College Station. A&M's laying 6.5. A&M's 3-0. Auburn's 3-1. I love that A&M win over Notre Dame in South Bend on that 4th down pass to the big tight end. I thought that was just a phenomenal win for the Aggies. Indiana ranked 11th. The way they score, I mean, look out. They're playing at Iowa, at Carver Hawkeye in Iowa City. And I mean, that's going to be incredible. I think I may have even butchered that. Yeah, it's Kinnick Stadium. Carver Hawkeye's the basketball stadium. That's an idiot play on my part. I've been to both 50 million times to watch the Hoosiers play basketball and football over the years, and I still butchered it. But 3:30 on Saturday in Iowa City between these two. Indiana has been incredible. Mendoza, by the way, has thrown 14 touchdown passes. And after Mateer broke his hand at Oklahoma, Mendoza is now the favorite in the Heisman race. Can you believe it? The guy that transferred from Cal to Indiana is the favorite right now for the Heisman. Yeah, it's not your boy down at Texas, Manning. After his crappy performance so far, he's fallen right off the list. Mendoza's in the lead, and we'll see if the Hoosiers can do it. They're laying 7.5 at Kinnick in Iowa City on Saturday afternoon. That game's on Peacock. That means you got to pay to watch it. Number 15, Tennessee's at Mississippi State in Stark Vegas. They're laying 7.5. The Bulldogs are 4-0. It's Tennessee that's got a loss. Arizona's at number 14, Iowa State in Ames. Iowa State laying 5.5. Both teams are undefeated. Zona's 3-0. The Cyclones are 4-0. 7 o'clock on ESPN Saturday night. I guess the other big game of the day is Oregon and Happy Valley against the Nittany Lions in Beaver Stadium. Number 6, Oregon against number 3, Penn State. Oregon's 4-0. Penn State's 3-0. Penn State's favored by 3.5. 51.5 is the total. Remember, James Franklin doesn't beat top 10 teams, ever. He's 1-17 against top 10 teams. I mean, that sucks just a little, don't you think? But everybody thinks Penn State's going to beat Oregon. I'm not so sure. I think, the last time they played, Oregon beat them. Remember, in the playoff. There you go. So I think Oregon is live on Saturday, I'll tell you that much. Alabama and Georgia is going to be a good one. The problem is Kirby Smart never beats Alabama. He's 1-6 against Alabama. It's the only team he can't beat. He crushes everybody else, but can't beat the Tide. But Georgia's 3-0. They're at home. Sanford Stadium, between the hedges, laying 3.5. 52.5 is the number. 7:30 in prime time on ABC. Number 17 Tide against number 5 Bulldogs. That's going to be a hell of a game. I still think Georgia's better than Alabama. I don't care what Kirby Smart's done in the past, to be honest with you. UMass and Missouri, you know what's going to happen there. Mizzou's 4-0. They're going to kick their ass. They're laying 43.5, beatdown time. Number 25, Colorado and BYU. That one's in Boulder. Prime's at home, getting 6.5 from BYU. BYU's 3-0. Colorado's 2-2. 48.5 is the total. That's just giving you a look at the top 25 games on Saturday. Now look, baseball ends Sunday. The playoffs start Tuesday, the 30th. I just wanted to give you an update on the standings after last night because it matters. The Blue Jays lost to the Red Sox again and the Yankees have tied them for the East lead. They're tied going into Thursday, and you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's it. So there's 4 games left, unless I'm mistaken, and then the playoffs start. So we'll see who wins the East, and we'll see who's a wild card. That's going to be huge. The Red Sox have been kicking the Blue Jays' ass. As for, that's the East lead. The Guardians lead is 1 game over the Tigers in the Central. They passed them this week. They beat them again last night. And the Mariners, they've already clinched it. They're up 5 games in the West over the Stros, so that's over with. The Phillies have clinched the East. That's done. The Brewers have clinched the Central. That's done. The Dodgers lead over the Padres is 2.5. So all that matters are wild cards. Right now, the Yankees, Red Sox, and Tigers have the wild cards, and the Astros are 1 game back. The Astros have a huge game today against the A's in the afternoon. They need to win that game with Valdez on the hill, or they are screwed. In the National League, the Cubs, Padres, and Mets have the wild cards. The Mets by a game over the Reds, even though the Mets got their ass beat by the Cubs last night 10-3. They still have a 1-game lead over the Reds because the Reds piked again against the Pirates. They've lost twice now in this series in the Queen City to the Pirates. The Pirates were up 1-0, 2-0. Then it was 2-1. They ended up winning 4-3 in 11 innings over the Reds last night. So the Reds and Diamondbacks are both a game back, and the Diamondbacks have to face the Dodgers and Yamamoto on Thursday, so that's not going to be easy either. So let's take a look at what happened last night. Didn't even matter, but Washington 4-3 over the Braves. I gave you Milwaukee. It went up to plus 120, and they beat the Padres at Petco 3-1. So we got you plus money yesterday. We had it at plus 112, so that ticket cashed. Tampa 6-2 over Baltimore. Cleveland 5-1 over Detroit. We went with Detroit, fail. The Reds lost, I told you, 4-3 and 11 to the Pirates. Pirates top them and prevent Cincy from gaining ground. Horwitz hit a run-scoring double in the 11th, and that was the difference for the Pirates in the win. Philly finally won a game. They've been cooled off since they clinched. 11-1, they pounded the Marlins. 8 home runs in the rout for the Phillies. The Yankees beat the White Sox 8-1. All rise. Judge number 50. He's done it 4 times, and the Yankees blow out the White Sox 8-1. Boston 7-1 over Toronto. They do it again. Your boy, don't call me Davy Crockett, Crochet, 8 sharp innings. Yoshida and Narvaez with home runs. The Blue Jays are slumping at the worst time. Cubs 10-3 over the Mets. Shaw and Bush homer as the Cubs roll at Wrigley. Texas 4-2 over Minnesota. Angels 3-2 over the Royals. Seattle pounds Colorado 9-2. Dodgers 5-4 in 11. They're close to the West title, and they hurt the D-backs playoff hopes with that win in the desert. San Francisco 4-3 over the Cardinals, and the A's blanked the Astros 6-0. There was preseason hockey. Florida 4-2 over Carolina. Columbus 4-1 over the Penguins. Seattle 4-1 over the Oilers. Vancouver 3-1 over Calgary. LA 3-0 over the Ducks. Let's look at Thursday. Here's what's happening. I told you already. Seattle against Arizona tonight in the NFL on Prime at 8:15 in the desert at the Toaster in Glendale. 7:30 on ESPN. Army in East Carolina. There you go. Baseball. Dayball. Brian Dayball. 12:40 Pirates and Reds. Ashcraft against Lodolo. Are you kidding me? The Pirates going to beat them again? 105 Tampa and Baltimore. Rasmussen and don't call me Maury Povich. 2:35 Minnesota and Texas. Ryan against Everyone Loves Molly. 3:35 Houston and the A's. Valdez and Ginn. That is huge for the Astros. And we bet on it today on the pay picks. 3:40 Dodgers and Arizona. Yamamoto against... I think they're using relievers to start that game. I don't think they're starting Gallen. They pushed Gallen of milk to Friday. They're going with relievers in this game to pitch a couple innings each. They're going to be in trouble in that game. I like the Dodgers. Miami at Philly. Junk against Bueller. I think the Phillies will beat them. Detroit and Cleveland. I got to go Cleveland again. They just keep whacking the Tigers and destroying their season. White Sox and Yanks. Rodon and the Bombers will get it done in the Boogie Down Bronx at 7:05. 7:07. It's all on the line for the Jays. If they lose again and the Yankees win, the Yankees take the lead in the East heading into the final 3 games of the weekend. It's Scott Baio, against Varland. 7:40, Mets and Cubs. The Mets have to win. John McClain, against Imanaga for the Cubbies. 9:38, Royals and Angels. Lorenzen and Ferris at the Big A. 9:40, Colorado's at Seattle. Mookie Blaylock against Hancock. John Hancock. There's preseason hockey. Buffalo at Detroit. Islanders at the Rangers. Phillies at Washington. Toronto's at Montreal. Dallas at Minnesota. Utah's at Vegas. Woo! I don't know the deal with this Ryder Cup. I really don't. I know there's rain out the ass. So, I think they've moved it to Friday. It's going to pour down rain all day today in New York. Of course, Bethpage is in Long Island. It's going to pour down rain. I think they're doing it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't even know. I don't even care. I think it's badass. U.S. against Europe. I love watching it, the highlights and everything else, but I don't know all of the details, and I'm not going to sweat it. I know Mickey's not going to sweat it, riding his little bicycle with his wife in the San Juan Islands and having another vacation. Doesn't return my calls. Barely returns my texts. We got a lot going on behind the scenes here at Pharrell and the Prophet. Very exciting stuff is happening. I think you'll learn more about it next week with what we're doing. It's going to be huge. Make sure you watch the Max Profit video, the Profit Play video, and get your elite play for today on the site. Go in the community, say whatever the fuck you want. You're good to go. So there you go. I just gave you another Pharrell and a Profit episode. You're styling on a Thursday. Let's make some money. Enjoy all the games, NFL tonight and college football. A huge weekend coming up. Starts tomorrow night with 2 ranked college football games, and then Saturday blowout. Sunday NFL pain day, including the game in Dublin, who I've already told you about. The Steelers, I think, are in trouble against the Vikings. We'll get into all that. Saturday, allegedly, Mickey will do the podcast with me, and we'll give you all of our free plays in college football and the NFL like we do every Saturday. That's a great show. People love it because they get a lot of winners. Last week, we gave you 17, 8, and 1 in free plays in college football, and then we went 5-0 with the pay picks in college football. And then I think Mickey's doing the NFL on Sunday, so you don't have to worry about me screwing it up. Hey, I got through the show. I only have one, I guess I got a couple of wet stains. I got a big wet stain over here. I just wanted to show it to you. See it? It's pretty huge. I'm dripping ass. Oh, well. At least I got through the show, right? At least somebody did the fucking show today. Check out. Ooh.